which could be, back then it could be $70,000. That's very possible.
But either way, something's
But,
up.
but the Tucson, there's no way that building would cost $270 to rebuild. But I doubt that's
You
gonna
know, you got a lot,
affect
you got,
costs
it's a
that
good
much.
sized lot there too.
Yeah. Yeah, they're,
There it is, I can see the white ones actually.
okay.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Morning, sir. Morning, Rob. I didn't know we were late. No, no.
I'm impressed.
Hey, I can remember. Just I'll review it to make sure.
Well, I can give somebody the boot now. It's the last day that I have to wear it.
You guys get rid of that.
Donate it, Dan. You get to give them the boot.
Donate.
Donate it?
Sure.
Oh, to the
Donate to
town.
one of the high schools or something. You know, when the kids get injured, they
Well,
can
I-
use it.
Oh, that's
I
right.
could donate it here.
Oh,
No, that's terrific. You sure?
Read that one.
Yeah, I sure don't need another object taking up room in the closet.
That's why I said one of the high schools. When I had my shoulder surgery, I had that ice pack thing left. They took it.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, I've got one of those too. Yeah, that thing probably useful. Well, I guess, yeah, this might be pretty helpful.
We all know they can't afford to buy new ones.
Oh, no. Well, that's actually true because all the money goes to the school administrator's retirement fund.
True that.
$400,000 a year. Now the teachers are up. We want smaller classrooms and more money. They want to put a nurse and something else in every school.
Well, when I was a kid, they had nurses, full-time nurses.
We didn't. We had nuns. You got
Well,
hurt, they beat you for getting hurt. You want to sign in, Brian?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Dan, I just figured out this morning where the T was at in your logo.
Oh, it takes a while.
What you should do is make one of those reflective things. You look at it one way, you see the T, you look at it the other way, you see the other.
Really?
I don't want something to do.
That's why you make that big.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Sue Rhodes is gonna design that.
Oh.
See, the ringer they always drop.
Looks like I'm in your audience
What
today.
is that empty?
So far, well, we've been averaging two.
Actually, it goes through last week.
Okay.
It's approved. You know where the headline is?
Where what?
Where the headline is. That's the street down the coast. Opens up like that. Comes in from Greenwood, represent Couture. Comes through the lake, and opens up.
So that's, if you go off 31, Nippersink goes under 31.
Yeah, that's it.
So then-
That comes out.
Then it's further west of 31 where it dumps into it.
Well, no, it don't right on. It comes out of one lake and goes down through this road.
Jim coming?
I believe so. But yeah, it goes under.
They should be dropped in the river pretty soon. They usually drop that. My pier is normally out of the water about this far. But they do the winter is like 2.5 feet out. So we can lower them every day. I had one time, I had a huge tree down by the river. It's like this big rock. Had to be 7 feet high. And that storm that we had that Sunday morning, it knocked it down. So I called Allstate. Well, no one up there. That you, unless it landed on my property on your house or whatever. So I didn't get anything about my neighbor telling me, yeah, it landed on your pier.
Besides, I've been working on my deductible.
Get it done now.
He just landed on the pier.
I got a
He's covered
25,
$3,500 worth of trees, remove it. Give me 3 trees in the pier. Came over to him. I'm sure.
Yeah, I know. I went in for 2 tests. I stress test on my heart and my flow in the blood to my veins. It was $12,000 for those 2 tests. You kidding me?
Cost me $3,500.
I still have $1,200 on
That
it.
was $8,500.
It's $1,900. I got a big kicks in $900. I couldn't believe this big charge for those 2 tests.
Open on our membership. I don't really
First year, I believe it. Doctors in the hospital discharge. I went in for 2 simple tests, it was 12 grand. 12.
Yeah.
It's just a long
That's a long drive.
How come we're bringing a group of people to your place? Do you mind if I talk?
Okay, I got 11 o'clock. Call the meeting to order. Their pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dan, if you'll call the roll of the committee members.
Supervisor Anderson?
Here.
I'm sorry, Trustee Anderson.
I like an upgrade.
Attorney Militano? Supervisor Adams?
Here.
Jim Mercurio?
Yeah, okay, it's John, but all right.
John.
Did I say Jim?
John is a Jim.
I need some coffee and then we'll do this again. Jim Condon?
Here. Okay.
All present.
Do we have any public comment at this point in time? No. Okay. All right, we need to approve the minutes of the last 2 committee meetings that are here in front of you. We have one for October 7th, I guess we should look at first.
Yes, I have a couple things to say about it.
Okay.
I know that Dan put down one public, but Mike Rickshaw is here, and I would like to see at least, when at least a member of the board shows up, to at least put down trustee Mike Rickshaw as opposed to the public.
Sure.
I think in the first one, I didn't do that because Jim was, we nominated, put him on the board, on the committee, so Jim actually wasn't public.
No,
No, what he's saying is-
I'm saying that Mike was sitting out there, and you put down one public, which I have no problem with do that. But I think when an elected official shows in from the board, you should put down that it was trustee Mike Rachel as opposed to public.
Yeah, I understand that. He'll change that right there. We'll just add
Yeah.
Mike Rakestraw, trustee present.
And then I got a second one
Sure.
there too, that when road commissioner Jim Conlon was added to the panel, there was a vote on it. I think that just showed what the vote was.
Oh, it should. Okay.
Because I voted
You're right.
no. It was a
Okay.
2-1 vote.
Yeah,
I think
okay.
that should be registered in the minutes.
It should be, okay.
How did you vote?
Pardon me?
How did you vote?
I voted for you not to be on the committee.
That wasn't very nice.
Okay. Let's, Dan, can you add that to the minutes?
Yeah.
The vote for that, yes.
It was on the 7th.
No,
On the
on the
7th.
7th,
That's-
correct.
we added them on the
Both those
7th.
comments on the 7th.
Anything else, Bob?
That's it. And then-
Okay. With those amendments, are there any other comments? Okay.
So now I'll make a motion to accept the minutes for October 7th.
Okay, Bob's making a motion to accept the minutes of October 7th with your corrections, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, passed. Let's go on to October 17th. Does anybody have any comments on that one?
I do.
Okay?
We had an attorney, Jim Militello here. He was not listed as attendant.
Okay,
in the
yeah,
minutes.
he should be, you're right.
That's all I have on that.
Okay. Bob, any other comments on that from anybody? Okay. Bob, if you'll, I'll make a motion to amend the minutes showing that Attorney Militello was also in attendance.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mr. Anderson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, those will be changed. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
So now,
Okay.
so now I've written up this RFP. Mr. Militello probably did not see this until late yesterday. So I guess first let's have a discussion on it. Does anybody have you all read it at this point?
I've read it.
Okay.
I've read it.
Basically, it's asking, saying we don't know exactly what, we want this study and we want some guidance and guidelines to provide this information, and then some other legalese in there. And I would like Mr. Militello to comment on what should or shouldn't be in there possibly. If you're ready to. Oh.
I'm ready to now. I received it, and I did look at it, and I do have some comments. And I'm just going to give a broad brush as I kind of go through this, my comments. In the introduction area, we say Mchenry Township. I'd like some language maybe in there that say McHenry Township and Mchenry Township Road District, hereinafter referred to as Township. It's 2 units of government, like to have them both included in this proposal, but then when we refer to the township, then throughout the rest of it, then maybe refer to it as the township. One.
Okay.
Number 2, do we want to have, and this is a question that we provide language in there, that we're going to have an opening time of when these proposals would be opened?
Sure.
So,
Where should that be?
yeah, so we could do that right after, and we could certainly do that at the very, very end, or we could do it in your first paragraph. But
Sure.
I do have language for that.
Okay.
So I'm just going to
kind of
these
talk about it,
language.
we'll just add
It would be something along the lines, the submitted proposals will be opened at, and if you want to do it that same day, you can do it at 4:30 p.m. or whatever.
Sure.
Or
Why
whatever.
don't we do it 4:30 p.m. that same day? That's okay.
And then we can add that language in there. One of the other pieces I noticed is reading through this is that it is a very detailed RFP. There may be some questions that the consultant has as a result of this RFP. So what I thought maybe we do is add in some of this, one of the bold topics. We have, for example, reservations, public records, right to cancel, maybe clarifications and questions.
Sure.
And then I'll give you the language to that, but something along the lines, and I'll just kind of talk about it. It says, all questions about this RFP must be submitted via email to a supervisor, and we'd have your email or whoever you want. All requested clarifications to the RFP must be provided in writing via email indicated above, unless otherwise provided. No other responses, whether verbal or otherwise, will be deemed official unless in writing by the township. So the purpose is if they've got a question, they submitted an email to you, then you can then, right. Because you may have other consultants that are involved in this, you want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. So some language additional will be submitted. All submitted questions shall be redistributed with responses to all the consultants who have requested an RFP package.
Okay. So they all get the response.
So they all get the question, we get the response, get them all on the same page. Then I have, regarding the deadline, going back up to the top, we have a deadline of November 25th, and we may want to put some language in there, something along the lines of proposals will not be accepted via mail or email, and I'll give you the language after that deadline. It is the responsibility of the consultant to meet the specified deadline and to provide complete information as requested in the RFP. You know, things like that. So making sure that they're all on the same. And then another provision in here, maybe something along the lines of proposals shall be submitted in the same sequence as specified for the evaluation. Specifications for the ease of evaluation, comparison, and checking compliance. And the reason I say that is because we got a really nice suggested criteria to be measured. You've laid this out, so however the board decides to go with that. I'd like to see the responses, or I think the township would like to see the responses back in that same format. So when you are looking at the responses, you can compare instead of hunting and packing it and seeing what that is. So that would be additional language. And then there's some minor word changes that I'd like to see maybe added in here. And that's under the, if you go to the background section and you go to the last paragraph, we say internal duties over the Mchenry County government. We're not just turning over, the township's not just turning over the duties and responsibilities, but you're also turning over your assets. Okay. So maybe we add in there assets and duties. So there's just minor little tweaking, but otherwise, those are the recommended changes. Would be fine to add in. That's all.
Okay. Committee, I will certainly incorporate Jim's changes unless anyone has objections to that.
I do not.
Okay.
One thing I didn't bring up at the last meeting, though, is that I think that whoever does this study should be looking into if there's any, which there will be, future annexations in such and such time frame, that those roads and annexation would be a loss to the road district here.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're
Is there
saying.
something we should put in there about that, or
I don't know.
or is that something we should be asking when somebody comes to be interviewing here?
Right.
I don't know.
What specifically are you referring to?
I'm referring to that if there is a municipal annexation, those roads go to the responsibility of the municipality, not the township.
Right.
So there would be
There hasn't been
lots of
any
open
development in
lines
the last 10 years.
there. What?
There hasn't been any development in the last 10 years. Are you thinking there's something coming up within the next 5 years that would make a major impact?
I believe so.
What is that?
I just believe it could very easily happen. Who knows what could happen in the future, but I think it needs to be looked
You
into.
think in the state of Illinois, in the next 5 years, in McHenry County, we're going to have a big growth surge and there's going to be a whole bunch of properties annexed into municipalities?
Well, let me just comment. We can certainly ask them that in the interview session to take that into consideration.
Okay. I just want,
Okay.
I want the issue to come up.
I think it's going to be hard for them to determine that, but we can ask them. Jim?
You could certainly, in your cost analysis, under your suggested criteria, if it is to be a measurable amount or criteria that you're asking the consultant to prepare, and all the rest of the consultants to prepare, in the suggested criteria to be measured, in there under one of the cost analysis, you may want to add an assumption, because that's really what you're doing. You're adding an assumption that 5%, 2%, 10%, whatever the number is, reduction in road service based on annexation, assuming whatever that percentage is. I don't know what that is. Again, it's an assumption that you're asking.
The only development that's gonna happen in McHenry County is there's plenty of vacant property that's been annexed that can be developed. I don't see any of that occurring, so it seems like senseless to even bring it up.
But there's always a possibility, Jim.
Right.
We can ask the question, and we will know that it's an assumption. We don't know that it's gonna happen, so. I'll add under D, add that under D, and we'll say, if something did happen, we're looking at what, 2% maybe? Are we okay with 2% in there? Because it certainly isn't gonna be very high.
I'm okay, I just think it should be something that should be looked into.
Okay, we'll do an assumption of 2% to look into that. I'll put it under, I'll make it point D under cost analysis.
The only other comment I have is on page 2, the top paragraph.
Okay.
It says, because of the duties of townships could be consolidated by either merging several townships together or townships could be abolished by the duties. Are we saying the study's gonna look at both ends of that, or just one?
Should just be the elimination, that's what we're.
Right, so in that paragraph, it specifically does say either merging several townships together or abolishing.
At this point, we're really not looking at that, are we?
So take it out.
That's why
Okay, I agree with you.
I agree with it too. It's one of my thoughts.
So we'll take that out up the top. We should mainly just have related to this current public act, correct? Is what we're looking at.
correct.
Okay. We'll change the language then. Anything else?
Yeah, if you go to the end of introduction, the last line, it says township wishes to negotiate a fixed price with a not to exceed dollar total base on a clearly defined scope. Fixed price is a fixed price. Not to exceed is a T&M, not to exceed. It's either one or the other. They're not.
I understand what you're saying. You're correct.
So which one get rid of, either fixed price or a not to exceed price?
Let's use not to exceed. I think that's better. That's my opinion.
The next
What do you
one.
think? We'll use not to exceed.
The next one, background. Aren't we one of 3 townships? Aren't McHenry, Algonquin, and Nunda all about the same size?
No, Algonquin is only 36 square miles. Only Nunda and us are 48 or whatever.
Realize that.
Yep.
Interesting. So look at that. Thanks. Jim actually answered the one about the road district, making sure the road district's included, so that doesn't matter. A loss or increased, objective. A loss or increased benefit analysis from the county township residents shall also be completed if any mandated services are taken over by the township. I'm a little confused on that, and then your suggested criteria. If you just walk through me and just describe a little bit better what you expect them to do on each one of those items, because they didn't seem very clear to me.
Okay, well, that sentence you're talking about is a little unclear. It's trying to say, is there going to be an increase or a decrease? I mean, that should be the decrease in benefits to McHenry Township residents if the county would only take over mandated services. What would be the benefit? Is that going to help the township residents benefit-wise, or is it going to decrease their benefits? In other words, what would happen to parks? What would happen to various things? And that would be a decreased benefit to them, in my opinion. So that's what I'm looking for there. And then the criteria is just loose, Jim. That's just suggested criteria. It does say further.
So when let me just go through and ask that question.
Sure.
So you say, identify the stakeholders from both McHenry Township and the county of McHenry Township, the county of McHenry Township is dissolved and taken over by McHenry County.
Mm-hmm.
The stakeholders. So generally speaking, you're looking at the voters or the residents of McHenry Township, all of McHenry County.
All McHenry County.
Main stakeholders are the voters of McHenry Township, right? Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, I'm saying there's more than just McHenry Township. There's McHenry Township voters. There's the city and villages that they live in. That's going to be impact them possibly.
Okay.
There's all McHenry County voters, and McHenry County. That's who I think the stakeholders are, but, and how would that affect each one of them, I guess, is what
I think
we're looking for. Them.
Okay, so number 2 seems pretty clear. Number 3, proposed benefits, pluses, minuses of transferring services to McHenry County government. Monetary and non-monetary for the next 5 years. But shouldn't those benefits be based on 2 things? 1, doing only mandated services, and 2, duplicating all services provided.
It does say that somewhere else in this. I think it's.
I believe it's measured both ways here.
It should. Yeah, I've got it in here to be measured both ways somewhere. Let me find it.
This wasn't very clear.
It's not very clear because we're going to have to sit down. We're asking them to help us develop criteria too. Here. It's somewhere else in there.
So what 4 you have?
Go ahead, you got it.
It's in page 2. If you read where the paragraph starts, currently Illinois Public Act, he lays out the RP would like to study the benefit or lack of benefits and costs. McHenry Township was dissolved and its duties were turned over to McHenry County to complete, but it discusses the mandated, if they only do the mandated.
Here, it's an objective.
I just want to make sure that is clear that they are, because it's not listed in the criteria.
It's listed under objective.
Whatever.
It's under objective. Secondly, the study would also provide analysis of McHenry County only took over the 3 mandated functions of McHenry Township. Okay? Under objectives there. So they're to measure it both ways.
Cost analysis, maintain current services provided. Operating costs using present township facilities and equipment. Operating costs associated with only county. So you completely eliminated our local building and everything here, and the township or the county would be just doing it out of Woodstock. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. Because they could choose to go either way there. Oh, and there's again, number B, same analysis of McHenry County,
Yeah.
only providing mandated services.
Okay. I just want to make sure that they're clear that they're doing not just mandated, but both current services and mandated services, and that they have prices that at the county's cost to do both.
Right, that's what I'm asking for, so.
Okay.
That's where the comparison of,
Okay. So I think one of the things that we're going to run into is anybody that is qualified to do this may not be able to make these deadlines. And I would like to give them an opportunity, if they're not able to make these deadlines, what deadline or schedule they would be able to make. I'm afraid that we're going to ask for these, and I think one of the major sources is universities, and universities use students to do that type of work, the research part of it. And as a result, it'll be, as an example, they wouldn't start until the spring semester and make it a project of the spring semester of some senior project or something like that. So I'm not sure that this time frame will actually occur. And if it can't occur, what would be acceptable? What would they be able to do?
well, what I was thinking is we send this out and see if anybody can meet this time frame. If we get none back, then we're going to have to just change the time frame.
Well, the reason why I was, if you can't do it, provide a proposal, but what time frame would you be able to do it so that
We could add
moving forward, we wouldn't have to
We could
and say,
add-
okay,
I see what
now
you're
we'll
saying.
do it.
We could add that language in somewhere.
If you added it in under project schedule, if you detail the project schedule and those specific dates, you could put a sub-paragraph where it says, if you're unable to make the above project schedule, please advise us of the schedule that you.
Okay.
Basically, the language.
Okay. I understand, that would be a good idea.
Proposal, cost proposal, again, you mentioned total all-inclusive maximum not to exceed. And it's really not a total, it's not a maximum, it's a time and material not to exceed. Not a total,
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. We'll change it.
that's all that I have.
Okay. The only thing I would suggest, because of these changes, I'm gonna need a little time, we just change the, a little time, I'll just need we change the date of this, being released till Monday instead of today, or tomorrow, I mean. So
But this doesn't need to be published or anything, because it's not a bid process, it's a
no, it's professional.
request for, services, right?
Correct.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Does it need board approval?
No,
No.
it needs this board approval.
Yeah.
And you may want to put it on your website so that if somebody's out there, they can download.
Sure.
I heard that too from Steve Beer. He thinks that eventually should get on the website too, and I think it should also be sent to all the trustees also.
Oh, I'd be happy to do that once we're totally complete.
Once you get it, yes.
Okay. And then, if it's okay with the committee, can we change the date here for, then I'm gonna send it out to Monday the 28th? We just change that date.
Sounds good.
Because I'm gonna need a day to change this stuff.
Sure.
Based on this, I make a motion that we proceed with sending it out with the recommended discussed items today. Get it out.
Okay, I have a motion. I'll second that motion, that we make the changes that have been suggested here. I'll work with our attorney, Mr. Meltel, to make those changes. And I'm sure we can get it done in a day. It's not a big deal.
Jim's saying yes.
Jim, is that going to get done? Okay, I'm just checking your schedule. All right, and then we'll finish it by tomorrow, and I'll send it out Monday to, and I'll make a list of who I'm sending it to for everybody to have. So we have a first and second. So to make the amended changes, and then to send this out Monday. So we need a roll call vote. Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Adams, yes. Mr. McCredo?
Yes.
Mr. Condon?
Yes.
Okay. Very good, gentlemen. We're moving along. I'm very happy with our progress. We basically covered, I did want to let you know that the cover sheet, I have the cover sheet wrong there. It needs to say, and I've amended it, proposals may be mailed, emailed, or delivered in person. And also, I noticed received was spelled wrong on the original cover sheet, so I will make those changes.
I have one question.
Sure.
We were talking about shared costs last week. Did that go anywhere?
Oh, slightly. Here's our issue. I did talk to Mr. Hedder at the Village of Johnsburg. His feeling was that his residents are already paying monies to the township, so they've already paid for this study. I've had some other conversations, but the big elephant in this room is they want to know what the cost is before they're going to make any commitments. So we got to get the cost back before I can get any commitments from anybody.
So at least with the board here, though, then the road commissioner Jim Condon brought it up about a question about would some of it come out of his budget. Has that got any more thought from you, Jim? Whether that come out of your budget or not, part of it?
I think the road commissioner would be glad to participate in expending funds, provided the road commissioner has a voice in the selection of the consultant.
That's good. That's good. So at least we got shared costs within the two governments here.
Yeah, as long as when it goes to when we make the final decision, that it's not made by the 5 trustees without also the road commissioner being having the same ability as the 4 trustees and the highway committee, and the supervisor. In other words, when we go out to bid, or when we accept the contract will be agreed upon not just by the 3 trustees with 2 no votes from the other trustees, but rather by the township highway commissioner will also have a vote on that.
I can't see that happening because you're not part of the board.
Well, here, I can understand what could happen here. If the highway commissioner did not approve of who was receiving the contract, he could elect not to participate, I guess, would be the...
I understand that part of it.
Okay?
But he will not have any vote on the board.
No, he won't.
Jim, is there any way or any process that can be pushed forward so that as a group, if we could do something similar to that?
The only thing you could do would be to make your decision based on the approval of a consultant that you agree to. But you would have to make it your vote subject to the consultant that you want.
So theoretically, if we were moving forward here, we're going to come to the board with various. Are we just so when we go to the board, we're going to give them 3 recommendations? Is that what? Or no, we're going to give them a recommendation from this board to the board. The board could then accept that recommendation, or the board can go out and get their own step cost study, right? So then this committee may not have any input at all in reality. What can happen is they can go out and retain the Illinois, what was it called?
Policy organization.
The, what was it?
Illinois Policy Institute or something like that.
Yeah, they could go out and retain the Illinois Policy Institute, and we know that the way the board stands right now, there's 3 people that would vote for that and 2 people that would vote no for that, and they would proceed with that. And that would be a biased report.
Well, that's,
So that can still happen, right? Our board may be completely useless, right?
That could happen, however, there's no obligation on behalf of the highway department relative to payment for that consultant.
Well, I think it's more related to this board may not, this committee may not really have any input at all. That's the reality. That's why I just want to make sure everybody's clear on that.
We're clear on
This
that.
could just be,
that is the reality, and, you know, if they would choose someone that I also would think was not unbiased, I would certainly say that, and I think it would be a waste of our money at that point in time, but it would be known to the public, I guess, is all we can do.
Mr. Anderson, do you have any input on that?
That's the way government works, Jim. You are not on the board, I told you that before.
No.
The board will make the decision, so I do, yes, I do have input, that's it.
So would you agree then, when it gets to the board, you would agree with whatever the recommendation of this board is, or this committee is?
What was, well, how'd you phrase that, Jim?
When we make a recommendation to the board, that recommendation would also be endorsed by you.
I will not make any commitment at this time, Jim. I will say this, though,
Yes?
that I brought up to have this committee put together. I want an independent study, and that's what I'm looking forward to. But how the thing turns out, I'm not going to commit to anything down in the future like that, but I do think that government works good when you have a committee comes with a recommendation, and quite often votes go with the recommendation of the committee. Not always, but that's the way government works. But I do think that this committee will have a lot of impact how this goes forward.
I look forward to seeing how it turns out.
Okay, fair enough. Any other discussion on this at this time? Okay, do we have any old business that we haven't resolved? I don't believe so, but. Okay, hearing none, I don't think there's anything else that we haven't covered under other.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Well, hold on a second, we have committee members' comments. Bob, do you have any?
I do have a comment.
Okay.
I just want to thank you. When I read through what you got out, about 4.5 pages, I want to thank you for the initial work with everything else that certainly got to be done. I'm surprised you got that much done, but thank you for that.
You're welcome. All right, thank you, Bob. Okay, any other public, or committee comments? Any other public comments at this time?
I'm just a representative of the freeloading mob.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Meeting is adjourned at 11:30. Hold on, Bob.
One other question. Okay.
Sure.
At this time, we're not going to schedule another meeting. We're going to move forward.
Correct.
To put that out, so we're not scheduling another meeting at this time.
I think the next meeting would be the bid opening. If
Yeah.
you choose to be here.
And I will inform the board at the next board meeting where we're at in this process, but I don't think we need another meeting.
I don't
Okay.
either. I just want to, I'm
Okay.
going to bring it up quick enough.
Okay.
Because I was not planning on having another meeting.
I think we've accomplished what we need to accomplish
Right, and then
until we get to the bid
And then
opening.
we'll have a report at the.
I'll make a report at the board meeting and give them this document.
Perfect.
Before the board meeting.
Perfect.
Okay. Also, we're adjourned. Okay. That's it.
Who's second?
Motion, we open the meeting?
No.
John and then Jim.
Oh,
At 11:30, the meeting's adjourned.
11:31, actually.
Yeah, that'd be 11:31.
Okay, 11:30.
For the record.
All right, I want to thank everybody.
That was what, I thought.
He's gonna put 11:30 and I'm gonna the next meeting. It was 11:30 when I like the minutes for record. Please.
No, there's an issue.
Oh,
I didn't publish an agenda. Forgot all about it. So what do we do with it?
It's Mondays.
got a published agenda.
Yeah, so,
Monday.
yeah, so can I just publish an agenda 48 hours? We've already published it in the
So
paper.
the 28th, I have a meeting at 11 o'clock.
publish in the paper
I could do
for
it earlier in the morning.
Yes, we did for tonight.
Yeah.
With everything, it's still my mind.
No,
I would-
at 11 o'clock.
I would publish
So I
again
can
in
go
the
to
paper
hotel
Okay.
with
like 10 o'clock.
Amended the date.
and, you know.
I'm
going
on
on
So
vacation.
you tell me.
Let me ask you a question. One, we can work this all out right now.
Send me an email.
There, we could save a whole meeting here if we just do it at the next board meeting. It's not gonna affect anything. It's this public hearing for the money. I can't spend it anyways, you told me not to, so. Or would you rather do it sooner? That's up to you.
We have one 21st. He didn't run around with that cart.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
You can do it 15 minutes
You're
before.
more welcome to attend.
Yeah, I can do it.
What you're saying is, okay, what you're saying is that we can present a special meeting.
We could have a special.
It has to be a special meeting.
Well, yeah, but it'll be prior to the regular board meeting. Like at 6 o'clock instead, and it would take,
Walking
15
with the cart
minutes.
just to spread.
You can set it whatever time you
Let's
want.
back to
It has
Jim.
to be separate.
Or if you wanna have a separate meeting earlier, I can do that too. It's my mistake. It's up to you. I mean,
I don't, it's not gonna change anything.
No, it's not
as far as
changing.
it's gonna go.
no, it doesn't change,
What I'm saying right
doesn't
now.
change a thing.
Those things can happen. I think you should send an email out to.
I will.
to them.
I will today because it's my error. I woke up this morning and went.
All right, look, okay.
Now,
So
the other,
minor-
there's one more problem
Oh,
too.
okay.
I don't know if you have that.
We are not gonna be able to have the regular board meeting on the
Yeah,
second
that's-
Thursday next month because,
November 14th.
right, because Debbie, myself, and somebody else is at a GA conference.
Me too.
There's no way we can, Dan, and some other educational stuff, there's no way we can get the financials done in time. So, could we move it to the 21st, the board meeting?
What day is it?
It's a Thursday.
I can't do it on the.
You can't do that, okay.
I could do it the 20th.
Would the 20th work for you, Bob, you know, or Wednesday?
It's a Wednesday.
7 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay. I will send that email out today, too, that we're gonna change, and we'll do everything on the 20th then.
And set the one for 6 o'clock and the other one for 7 o'clock.
Yeah, we'll set the,
So, first, okay, at the regular board meeting.
we're gonna do the regular board meeting on
The
Wednesday.
regular board meeting we can do on that day.
We can or can't?
We can.
Okay, so we're gonna do Wednesday the 20th for the
Okay.
regular board, and prior to that, we'll have a special meeting, or whatever you wanna call it, for the budget amended, at 6 P.M.
I don't think it takes an hour.
Well, it doesn't, it's 6:30.
I would say 6:30. I don't think we should do
6:30.
15 minutes.
You're right,
I think we should-
6:30.
I would say
In case something
6:30.
comes up. 6:30 for the budget amendment. It's not gonna change a thing.
So take the 14th off and move it to the 20th.
Move it to the 20th.
And then the 14th is gonna be moved to the 20th.
Right, and we're also doing, you understand, the budget amendment will also be on the 20th at 6:30.
That's on the 20th.
Right before the regular meeting.
Okay, I wanna make sure I get that marked down on the back of my agenda. Okay, so it's gonna be 6:30, the budget meeting will be at 6:30, and everything's changed to the 20th.
Right,
Okay.
and only because there's no way we can get the books ready for you. And that won't change a thing for the budget amendments.
We can if you want to.
Well, it'd be tough, though, it'd be really,
Well, I can upload remotely from the laptop.
you're gonna be able to do it.
Well, the other thing is I just got that information you gave, and I'm just thinking from the trustees.
Oh, the other
That's
stuff.
fine.
The stuff that you just sent me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I
need-
gotta
I'm
check
need-
with you
you
that
need
you got it
I'm gonna
all.
need to put that together, and I know Steve wants to see it before in advance.
Okay, so let's,
So I may ask for another week or two anyway.
So that would be
So that would make sure that I have enough time so that if the board has any other issues, we can go into executive session.
okay.
You know what I mean? Or they can say, yeah, go ahead and send it up.
The Attorney General's
Thank you.
responses. So if everybody's okay with the 20th, let's leave it there. It works out best for everybody.
And those are the 4 files yesterday you sent me, that's all I need.
Yeah,
You got
have
four?
all
You got all four?
Did you get 4?
I think so, I'll double check when I get back to
I might give you all the paperwork, because the one file is like
I'm gonna call
433
Steve.
pages.
You call Steve and tell him what's
But make sure you send email.
I will send email
Yeah,
today.
But I will call him, because he's gonna pick up mine for tonight.
Yeah,
so
tell him.
Make sure they hear that, as soon as I get back, I'll call him.
It's totally my error,
Right.
and
Things happen.
So nothing tonight. I've learned from my mistakes, I need to put this on my calendar 5 days ahead of time.
Okay, you're good enough, okay. So I'll make sure they hear the message, and it's,
And it's not gonna, let them know, it doesn't change a thing. It's not gonna, you know,
what's it in your email?
yeah, I will tell them that.
Yeah. So I won't see them next.
I won't see
Unless
it.
it's by accident someplace.
Okay.
That's a good chance, I'm all around here.
Just so you'll get it.
Take care. Not much longer with the booth.
No, today, as soon as I get home,
That's good.
turn it off.
We'll let you leave, I gotta work.